Hello everyone. In this video, we will build our first dashboard. Before we start working on dashboard, I'd like to mention that there are some charts which we haven't covered yet. For example, we haven't covered the area chart and the bullet chart. The reason I haven't covered them yet is because for some of these charts, we will need some basic knowledge of calculated fields and table calculations. We will cover the calculated fields in an upcoming section. Post that, we will build the remaining charts as well as some other charts which aren't available in Tableau by default. Let's start off with our first dashboard. As a first step, let me show you the end product that we will build in this lecture. This is what our end product should look like. Now, I understand this might not be the most eye-catching dashboard around. However, it has all the functionalities. For example, we will use filter actions, we will use various sort of formatting techniques, plus we will build this dashboard using both the floating and tiled approach. The purpose of this lecture is to give you a good understanding of how dashboards work in Tableau. Later on, we will build more advanced and fancy looking dashboards as well, but we will go there one step at a time. To start off, let's study some of the basics of the dashboard. Dashboard is nothing but simply a combination of worksheets. Let's say if you want to set up a dashboard which shows a map and a bar chart, all you need to do is set up a worksheet which shows a map and another worksheet which has a bar chart, and you can then combine them into one dashboard. When setting up a dashboard in Tableau, it's a good practice to do some wireframing first. This will give us an idea of what individual elements will be required to achieve the final dashboard. Let's have a look at our end product. By looking at this, I can already see that I'll be needing one worksheet with a map on it. Then I'll need one sheet with a bar chart, one sheet with a line chart, one sheet with a text table, and maybe 4 sheets with one number on each of them. So for example, one sheet with sales, one with profit, quantity, and discount. So let's start off by setting these sheets up, and then later on we will combine them into the dashboard. For this one, I will use a fresh Tableau public workbook. So let me initiate a new instance of Tableau public. I can go to File and click on New. I will connect to the Superstore dataset. And drag the orders field into the canvas. As we did before, I'll quickly have a look at the total number of fields and rows imported. This looks okay. The data types also look okay. Now I can go to my sheet 1. As a first step, let's set up a map. Since I've already covered how to set up a map, I will fast forward the video from here. If you want to have a quick revision, you can refer to lecture number 14. I'll put the link in description. So our map is now ready. Next, we will build a line and a bar chart. We have covered both of these in lecture 10 and 12, so I'll fast forward the video from here as well. Once you have set up a line chart, it will initially give a different color to each year's line. You can double click on the legend on the top right and assign a red color to 2022 and a grayish color to rest of the lines. This will make the 2022 line stand out a bit. As the next step, we will set up our text table with a top end filter. I will first drag the customer field to rows and order date to columns, and then I'll add a total. Now, I don't want to show the entire list of all the customers on the dashboard. I think that might be quite overwhelming. We just want to show, let's say, the top 10 customers. So I can apply a filter that will only show the top 10 every time. To do that, I'll drag the customer pill to the filters. Note that I'm holding the command key on my Mac or control on my Windows. And I'll go to the top by field, top 10 by sales sum, and I'll apply, and that will give me the top 10 customers. Moving on, we want to set up 4 sheets which show total numbers for sales, profit, discount, and quantity, like we have over here at the top right of the dashboard. Go to a new sheet, call it sales. I'll just double click on the sales. Instead of putting it in the rows, I'll put it in the label, and I think I'll get rid of the title here and just increase the font size to, let's say, 20. Make it bold, and perhaps we can make it 22. Okay, this looks good, at least for now. And if you want to make any tweaks later, we can do that. I'll duplicate this, call it profit, and close the formatting pane. Instead of sales, I'll put profit into it. Good, so we have all the sheets set up that we will need in our final output. Now let's get to the core of this lecture, which is to build a dashboard. To set up a new dashboard, click on the second plus sign. The first plus sign is to create a new sheet. The second one is to create a new dashboard. Once you do that, you will see a blank dashboard like this one. First of all, let's get some know-how of the interface and options available here. Right in the middle, we have dashboard canvas. This is where we will drop all the sheets that we want to appear on our dashboard. On the top left, we have 2 tabs, dashboard and layout. On the layout tab, we have options to format individual worksheets that we will put on the canvas. On the dashboard tab, there are various features. First of all, we have the option to select the size of our canvas. There are various options available in here. You can either select a range of size, or you can go with fixed, where you will have options to select different sizes like desktop, A4, etc. I will recommend going with the automatic option. In this option, Tableau will automatically adjust to the size of the screen on which the dashboard is being displayed. Next, we have names of all the sheets in our workbook. We can actually drag and drop these sheets to the canvas. Next, you have a section for objects. This is basically a list of objects that we can add to our canvas. We will come to that in a while. In fact, we will be using these very often. After that, we have the option to go tiled or floating. Let's have a quick discussion on what is tiled and floating. In Tableau, there are broadly 2 ways you can set up a dashboard: floating approach and the tiled approach. And there's actually a third one as well, which is kind of the mix of the 2. In floating approach, you have the freedom to place the sheets anywhere on the canvas. Assume this light green shaded area is the dashboard canvas. If I have 3 sheets, I can place them anywhere on the canvas and move them around as I like. Now let's have a look at the tiled approach. In this method, the canvas is divided into tiles or blocks. You can select as many tiles you want the canvas to be divided into. You can also maneuver the size of the tiles. Now, the worksheets you want to appear on the dashboard can only be placed inside of these tiles. Also, the worksheets cannot be placed on top of each other. This makes the tiled approach slightly inflexible and also sometimes confusing for the new learners. The floating approach is flexible and beginner-friendly. However, you have to be careful. It's easy to place a sheet on top of another sheet in the floating approach, and that might hinder the view. We will create the dashboard using both the approaches so you can get an idea of both the methods. So to start off, let's select the floating option first. And now if I want to move any of my sheet to my dashboard, I'll just simply drag the sheet and put it wherever I like. Similarly, if I want to drag another sheet, I'll just drag it and put it wherever I like. Let's try to do that with the tiled approach, and you will see that it's slightly more complicated. I'll go with the tiled. Now if I put the map onto the canvas, it will first create a one big block and put the map chart on that block. If I want to add the bar chart as well, I can either drag and drop it, or maybe I'll just double click it, and you will see that Tableau has now created two blocks. This is the first block inside which the map chart lives. This is the second block where the bar chart lives. The reason I wanted to give you a demo of both the options was just for you to understand how these two options differ. I'll Control Z it, go to the initial position, click the floating. Now let's have a look at the end product. So looking at the end product, we now have a good idea of where we want to place which elements. So we want to have the map at the top left corner. I'll put it there. Then we want the bar to be somewhere over here. We want the line to be just next to the bar. And we need the text table right in the corner. We need the sales number. So let's first of all start getting rid of the elements that we might not need. So for example, I think this legend we don't need. I think it's pretty self-explanatory that the color over here is indicating towards the amount of sales. So I'll get rid of that. That will give me more space. Now let's do some formatting. Let's first of all set the background to a dark green color. So I'll go to dashboard, I'll click on format, we'll go with this version of green. Now let's quickly go back to our end product. As a next step, we will create the division lines which separate different elements of our dashboard. We do not have these lines available in Tableau by default, but there's a trick to set them up. Basically, we will use the blank object to set up the lines. The blank object by default gives an empty box. We will reduce its dimensions and then give it a border or a fill. That way it will look like a line. To give it a border, I will select the object, then go to the Layout tab. Over there, I will see option for border. Here I can select the type and color of the border that I want to give to my object. Once the border is there, then I will make it very thin such that it appears as one line. Now I can create a copy of this and paste it here. Create the vertical division. So this is one disadvantage of working with the floating methodology. You'll have to create the divisions yourself, and you'll have to make sure that the divisions divide the canvas exactly into half. Otherwise, visually, the dashboard might not look as appealing. As the next step, let's fix the 4 items on the top right. First of all, there is a lot of empty space in these sheets, as they are not fitting the entire view. Let's select one of the sheets, click on the arrow next to it, and fit the entire view. Now let's do the same with other ones as well. Now as the next step, I'll assign the same heights and widths to all of these boxes. I'll select the sales one because I think this one has round about the right dimensions, and I'll click on the Layout tab. It's actually already there. So it's 295 in width and 140 in height. I'll assign the same to all the rest of them as well. So I'll select profit, 95, 140. As the next step, I want to make sure that these boxes are appearing exactly in line with each other. For example, the left ends of the sales and quantity should be aligned. Similarly, the top ends of the sales and profit should be aligned, and so on. Now, if we do it manually, it's going to be very difficult, as we can always make mistake with the precision. So the right way to do it is to play around with the X and Y coordinates. For example, sales box has an X coordinate of 878. So I will go and assign the same to the quantity box. Similarly, to align profit with sales, we'll need to align the Y position. So sales has a Y position of 60. I'll go to profit and put the Y position at 60 as well. Same with the discount. Quantity has a Y position of 238. I'll go to discount and provide it the Y position of 238 as well. Now apparently it seems like profit and discount are not synced with each other. So I think discount is appearing at the right position. I need to bring profit slightly on the left. So let's check the X position of discount. X position of discount is 1280. Profit has 1297. So that's why there is difference. I'll put 1280 for profit and it will become in line. Now I think we need to centralize the text for profit, quantity, and discount, just like we have for sales. So I can do it via two methods. I can either format it from here, right here, or maybe I can go to the profit sheet and change the format there. I'll just do it from here. I've right-clicked on profit, click on format, go to the alignment option and select center. And then I can do the same with all the others. Go to the alignment. As the next step, I will make the headers look slightly more appealing. To do that, I can just double click on the header and then select. So by default, it's showing the sheet name. I can give it some other name as well. However, I think here I'm fine with the sheet name. I'll give it slightly bigger font, make it bold, and I think center as well. And for color, let me go with, and then I'll repeat the same step with the rest of the other boxes. So you can fast forward the video for a few seconds here. I think having a dashboard title here is good, so let's have it here and format that too. Lastly, I will increase the heights of the three charts at the bottom such that they fit their respective blocks. And after that, I will format their titles in the same way as I did for the 4 boxes at the top right. I'll fast forward the video for a few seconds here as well. So looks like we have our first dashboard almost ready. As the next step, we need to add dashboard actions. Basically, I want that when the user selects any state on the map, then rest of the charts should show the result only for that state. This can be achieved via the dashboard actions. To set it up, go to dashboard in the menu bar and click on actions. First, you will see this screen, which will display any actions that are already set up. Since we have nothing for now, it shows empty. Let's click on Add Action and then click on Filter. I will give it a name, let's say Filter by State. After that, the first thing Tableau is asking for is the source sheet. This is the sheet where we want the user to select the state. So in this case, we will select Map as the source sheet. Also, you can specify when to run the action. In this case, I will check Select. Next, it's asking for target sheets. These are the sheets on which we want the filter to be applied. In this case, we will want the filter to apply on all the sheets except for Map. Lastly, we also have the option to select what happens once the filter is cleared. For this case, I will go with Show All Values. In the end, we have option to select the fields that will get filtered. For this, I will select State Province. Then let's click on OK and see if it works. Now, when I will select California, you will see that all the charts will filter for California. Beautiful, it's working. If I select, let's say, Ontario, all the charts have now filtered for Ontario. Then I can select New York. You will see all the charts are filtering. And it's not just that you can select only one particular province. If you want, you can select a bunch of provinces. For example, I'll highlight a few provinces that I want to be selected, and the filter will apply with all the selected provinces. Now let's try to quickly set up the same dashboard with the tiled approach. Let's go to a new dashboard sheet. Let's set up the size. I'll go with automatic. Now, if we look at the end product, I think it will be a good idea to first set up the tiles. Once the tiles are set up, then we can drop the individual sheets into those. To break it down, this bottom portion can be one block in the dashboard, and inside that block we can have 3 different blocks side by side with each other. And in those sub blocks which are inside the main block, we can put in the sheets. On top, we will need one main block. Inside of it, on the top left, we can place a map. Towards the right of the map, we can have 2 vertical blocks. Each of these vertical blocks will then hold 2 sheets on top of each other. Now, I understand this sounds a little complicated, but hopefully once you get some practice, you will not find it too difficult. So let's go to dashboard 2. I'll first select the tiled approach, then I'll select the show dashboard title. Now, in order to set the lower block, since the worksheets are arranged side by side with each other, I'll go with the horizontal block and drop it into the canvas. So I'll go and drop the horizontal block onto the canvas. And on top as well, we will have 3 blocks set up side by side to each other. Therefore, I will go with another horizontal block on the top. Note that I want to place the second horizontal block right in the middle of dashboard title and the first horizontal block. To do that, I will hover the mouse between these 2 elements. Once I see this gray shaded area, I will release the cursor, and that will set up the horizontal block right in the middle of the 2 elements. So I'll go and put it over here. So this is our first horizontal block. This is the second horizontal block. If you want to see the structure of your tiled dashboard, you can also click on the layout, and over there it will give you a skeleton of how your dashboard is arranged. So your dashboard is tiled. There is a vertical block first. Inside the vertical block, there is a dashboard title. Then you have first horizontal block, and then you have another horizontal block. Now in this horizontal block, I can start dropping the sheets. So I know that the first sheet we have is the bar. So I'll drop it in. When I'll drop the first sheet, it will by default occupy the entire space inside the horizontal block. But once I keep adding more, it will adjust to give a space to the other elements. For now, I will just remove the legend. I can add them back later on whenever I want. And then the last one was the text table. So I'll put it in there. Now, as you can see, these three sheets are inside the first horizontal block. If I want to select one particular sheet, I can click anywhere in the body of that sheet. Once the sheet is selected, that will be highlighted in a gray border. If I double click on top handle of the sheet, that will select the horizontal block inside of which the sheet is living. Once you have selected the horizontal block, which is also called a container, then that will show up in a blue border. One cool feature of the tiled approach is that it's very easy to evenly divide the sheets within the container. To do that, I will select the horizontal container, click on the drop-down, and select Distribute Contents Evenly. This will divide all the sheets inside this block equally. Next, I can select on the sheet and fit entire view and do that with all the sheets. Now on top of this, I need to add another horizontal block. We had added it, however, I think it disappeared. Never mind, I will add it again. So here I'll first add the map. I'll remove the legend first. After this, I will add two vertical blocks next to the map. Sometimes adding a vertical block can be tricky. It gets pushed out of the container. To overcome that, I like to put a blank container in first. Once I have added the blank container, I will add the two vertical blocks next to it. Now these vertical blocks are in, I can get rid of the blank container. From here, I suppose it's a piece of cake. We just need to drop the sheets into the vertical containers, fit the entire view, and then distribute the contents evenly. So I will speed up the video for a few seconds from here. And as the last step, we will give our dashboard the same dark green background color which we did before. Also, if you want to add the dashboard actions, you can follow the same steps which we did in the floating approach. It works the same way. I will also quickly update the formatting of the dashboard title. Now I will distribute the contents in the upper horizontal block evenly, and then we will have a look in the full screen. So I think everything looks good, but the sheets are a little bit squeezed into each other. We can set up the gaps between the sheets using the padding options that we see in the Layout tab on the left. So I will add an inner padding of 10 to all of the sheets. I'll select the sheet and then go with the inner padding of 10. And I'll do the same for all the sheets. And lastly, to manage the gappings on the right and left corners, I will just add a blank block on the very left and reduce its width. And I'll do the same on the right end. I'll add a blank block on the right and reduce its width as well. Let's have a look now. Now it looks much better. So I hope you enjoyed this tutorial. In the next one, we will learn about data shaping, and I look forward to see you there.